the research pre-COVID had shown us, for example, that the Okonjima Nature Reserve is an ideal habitat for leopard and for brown hyena. And we were also discovering other species that appear to do very well here. But we were also seeing that they behave differently. They have an altered ecology because they are in an enclosed reserve. It's been enclosed for their protection. It's been enclosed to preserve the environment from cattle farms and cattle surrounding. The Okonjima Nature Reserve is a protected area. It is it's part of the conservation strategy for Namibia in terms of creating a protected area where wildlife can exist. And we don't have to deal with many of the risks that wildlife often have. For example, human-wildlife conflict, or traffic, or poaching, or many of these other things that affect wildlife. We've been able here to conserve an area in the way that it used to be for wildlife to exist. But because it's fenced, there are implications. Their home ranges are smaller, the densities are higher, there's less opportunities for dispersal, they have more interactions amongst each other. They potentially put a higher burden on the environment because of the density. So we feel that we need to really understand this better. We need to understand these changes and these new dynamics, both for the management of the reserve to ensure that the reserve is sustainable and well managed and none of the animals are suffering from being in an enclosed protected area, but also things that we learn here can be really useful for other protected areas. And they may be enclosed by fences like we are, but they may also be enclosed by communities, for example. Again, anywhere where migration is constrained, they are likely to have similar situations as we have here. So lessons that we learn here would be applicable outside the reserve. It would be applicable also, we think, for government in terms of promoting and encouraging and supporting the development of enclosed protected areas for conservation. From AfriCat's inception, it was recognized that this was a habitat with a large population of leopards. And it's been built up and improved over time. And that was one of the activities that we maintained throughout COVID as an essential core activity. But now that we've restarted, we are basically improving and strengthening the leopard research. We have a number of leopard individuals that are collared by VHF, and we're able to follow them on a daily basis, record their behaviors, record their interactions, and we have the benefit of having generations of leopards that we have data on. At the same time, we have reset up a whole network of camera traps, which allow us to now see other leopards that are not collared that are in the reserve. We see that there are leopards that jump in and out of the reserve. We see new cubs. We see interactions between different leopards, both collared and uncollared. And we also see interactions on the cameras between the leopards and other carnivores such as brown hyena. So this has given us another insight into the park. So as a complement to the leopard monitoring, the leopard research that we're doing, we are also restarting brown hyena research. This was research that was started pre-COVID. A census was taken at that time, and we want to repeat the census, so we'll be able to compare the brown hyena population now to previously. And then, similar to before, we'll also put camera traps at brown hyena dens. We will also collar a number of individuals, probably a couple of individuals from each clan. We also have an ongoing pangolin research project, which also was maintained during COVID, but has been improved and accelerated post-COVID. And that involves a number of research individuals, which have both GPS and VHF tags on them. And what we're seeing is that all of our camera traps, it's giving us a real picture into what goes on in the park that we don't ever see. And we're able to bring all these different pieces of the project together and get a really good idea of all the different interactions and species and animals living in the reserve and how they function together, where they are. And this is going to be, I think, a really strong foundation for moving forward in terms of increasing the level of research that we have here. By being able to pull all the information from all these different research projects, we're getting a much more comprehensive picture of what's happening in the reserve than we had previously. and it'll give us a very strong foundation for building up further analyses and a better understanding of the interactions between the species themselves and also the species in relation to their environment.